And hello good people of the internet, it is I, Tommy Kelly, and this is Adventures in Woo Woo. And in this video, live from my car, a very hot car at the minute, we're going to talk a bit about my recent Randonaut excursions and about a theme that seems to be appearing. This is the bane of my life, is finding places to do videos that is not surrounded by noise or people or any of those things. I'm sure you're sick and tired of me complaining about it, because I'm sick and tired of it. I came to the park today. I was just after doing my randonauting, and I was going to come to the park and just talk a bit about it, because I did the randonauting today in the car, which I usually don't do. I usually do it walking, and so it's easier to film. I didn't really want to be videoing myself when I was driving, apart from breaking the many laws. It's just not safe, all of those things. But as soon as I got to the park and I sat down and I found a bench, and it was great and it was quiet, and got the camera out, set it up, and then from nowhere came a guy in a huge lawnmower. And like, the park's pretty big, and not that he doesn't start cutting the grass like over the other side, or you know, right beside me. Literally started, come out and started right beside me, and I'm in the middle of the park. Like, it's so as if someone came along and says, right, I'm just going to start there to annoy him. It's just, it's driving me insane. So here I am, in the car, outside the park. The park's just there, and I'm sure it's still noisy with the traffic pass and all that. Anyway, enough of all that. My randonauting today, I haven't done it in a while. I had it's been about a week since I did it. The last time I did it, I don't think I talked about it on the YouTube channel, was I ended up getting the tractor, and it was in a schoolyard. And I went, I'm not doing that, because that's a bit too weird. It's 8 o'clock at night. The school's on the main street. You're going to be seen. All of those things. It just felt, more than just a despair meme, it felt like, you know, you shouldn't do this. This isn't something you should do, because, you know, you're going to get in trouble, or you're going to look suspicious, or all those things. So then I said, I got another tractor, GetAttractor, into the bot, and it came back about 2 foot away from where the first one was, in the schoolyard. So I went, okay, I have to go do this. So then, definitely was trespassing, had to open a few gates, and what was in the schoolyard or whatever, and I did feel quite nervous. I did feel like I shouldn't be doing it, and there was nothing really there to, you know, that it was of any interest, other than, you know, a couple of bits and pieces. Of a few pictures I'll throw up as I go along of the different places. So I decided that I'd go on a, you know, like a tree outing, a tree kind of loop, which seems to, you know, get good weirdness going for people. And so ultimately, there was a couple of places. The next one was in a place I couldn't go into, again, because I would have to be trespassing or whatever. So I got as close to it as I could, and then I went for the third one, which brought me up to a roundabout, and where there is people staying in caravans and stuff, and I was kind of going, I kind of feels weird. I don't, you know, I knew they were staying there. This is before I got there, and you know, I wasn't in the mood for people. I wasn't in the mood. Like, how do you explain this to people? I think, you know, without sounding too weird, in my head, what I have is, I'm just going to explain it's like a game. It's like, you know, Pokemon Go, where you're going to collect things or something like that. But I have yet to actually explain it to someone. But the joke was, when I actually got there, the tractor point was yet another tractor, an actual tractor. So that seems to be a theme. At this point, I've got 2 tractors at the tractor point, and it was interesting that the third one was, in this case, was the tractor that was just bird shit landing on the windscreen, in case you're wondering what that thud was. So that was fun, that was cool. I see the joke in it picked me up a wee bit. So today I says, well, I'll go out, and I'll try and go further afield, you know, so I'll go in the car and I'll see where it takes me. So the very first one, I was way out the road, and it brought me to, it was like people's land, you know, so I'm not going to go in, more than just I don't explain myself. I wouldn't want people coming into my house, or, you know, driving around, having a look suspiciously around my garden, or stuff like that. So I wouldn't want, you know, I don't want to do that. I don't want to inflict that on someone else. But I got as close as I can, and it was an old abandoned building, an old kind of cottagey thing. So it was cool. At least there was something there. It wasn't something in the middle of a field, or it wasn't, you know, just an empty barren area. At least there was something there. So from there, I went to my next one, which was out the main road, and again off the road, down a wee dirt track, and it was like an old farm, or had full of loads of farm machinery. I don't think it was run down. I just, it's hard to know with some of these farms because they're just, not that they're unkempt or that they're not looked after, just because they're used, and there's always stuff. So, but it was like a farm yard, no tractors though, and a building. I didn't get out of the car. I just again didn't feel comfortable. There was no reason for me to be down that lane. There's literally nothing else on that lane, and it's a good bit down, so it's not as if you would just go, oh, I was just passing, or I was just trying to turn the car. The only way to be there was to be deliberately there, so I didn't hang around too much. I'm not sure if that counts as the despair meme. It probably could, but I would get that. Well, I was going to say I would get that if I wasn't doing randonauting, but I wouldn't be in that place without doing randonauting. Anyway, cut to the third one, and it's actually where I found the Doll's Head. It's out the same road, only much further past. And I arrived up, I got to the end, and again it was leading into like someone's house or someone's garden. It was going into a place, a yard, that I just, there would be no reason for you to be there. And I didn't feel, but I said, fuck it, I'm just going to go down and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? I make a show of myself in front of someone, or have to explain something, or I get reported to the authorities or something. And so I went down, and what was the attractor? The third attractor? It was, of course, a tractor. So if nothing else, the Fat and Bot has a very much a sense of humour, or at least it's aiming at me. Now, of course, I live in a somewhat rural area, so the fact of getting tractors isn't too out of the ordinary. But having them at the exact location of these random attractor points, and particularly the two of them were on the third kind of loop, or the third linked visit, that it's something of interest, and I think it's worth noting, if nothing else. So that's what I've been randonauting up to now. I'm going to try and get out again a bit more, because I feel I'm kind of, not that I'm losing interest, but I'm getting out of the swing of it. I think mostly what was happening was because I was doing it in my town, and there's only so many places in your town, so you're not really getting randomness. And I was also trying to incorporate into my walking the dog, and I was trying to find attractor points that were on my route, if you want, which of course defeats and negates the entire purpose of the whole outing, the whole excursion. But I'm going to try and dedicate it some time, even if it's in the car, to go out. I think you're probably better walking, because there's more chance of serendipity, or talking to people, or interacting or something. When you're in the car, you're just, you're very solitary. But it was what I needed today anyways, to get out and just be on my own, and definitely not be disturbed. So yeah, that's the update. Sorry there's no video of the actual places, but I thought maybe talking about it would be enough. So, good people of the internet, until our next adventure, be well.